Hello Year 6, welcome to History Lesson 2, where we're going to continue our exploration of the inquiry question, how did life change in Britain during World War II? So today's focus is going to be, how did the Blitz change London? First of all, let's have a look at our Knowing More, Remembering More. These 4 questions have been put on a quiz on Purple Mash, and I will set that as a to-do for you. At the end of this lesson, I want you to go onto Purple Mash, go onto your to-dos, and you should see a to-quiz, history to-quiz. Make sure you answer them all and hand them in to me so I can see how well you've done. But for now, you can pause the video and have a little think of how you might answer them. In today's lesson, we're going to learn more about World War II. We're going to be looking at the impact of bombing on London. We're going to evaluate the impact of the Blitz on civilian life and if there was a Blitz Spirit. And we're going to examine sources and interpretations about the Blitz. And we're going to come up with our own conclusions based on these sources. Let's have a look at our key vocabulary. Key words that you already know are the Blitz, bombing, World War II. And in the grey box, we have words that you'll meet today. Blitz Spirit, determination, evacuation. In a moment, I want you to pause the lesson and take a note of these words. They're going to add towards all the words that you've got so far in your mini glossary of words that relate to our learning of World War II. Here's our knowledge organiser for this unit of work. You should already have this. If not, it's available on Purple Mash for you to print out or just have on your screen for your own reference. You might have them in your packs as well. Remember to use them how we use them in class. Let them assist you with your knowing mores and remembering mores, your independent tasks, and importantly, always use them to revise from. So today we're going to be looking at these sections here. Blitz Spirit, determination in a difficult or dangerous situation, and Winston Churchill, Britain's wartime Prime Minister. So let's look at our question, how did the Blitz change London? In a moment, you're going to watch a clip about it, and I want you to note down 5 ways the Blitz changed London. So get a pen and paper ready to note down 5 ways the Blitz changed London.
Preceded by a shower of flares, German bombers rained fire and high explosive bombs in their most savage attack on London. Here again is the blood, the sweat and tears that Nazi warfare brings to the men, women and children of city, town and village. Here again are the same firefighters who face peril and danger with the same grim determination and courage. Amid the rain of bombs and falling masonry, they fight the hell of Hitler's making, while our cameramen record for all time their stupendous task. Rocked by blast like some foul giant's breath and blistered by the intense heat, London's firemen carry on. Here are heroes in action. Thick smoke hangs over the heart of Britain as a choking dawn reveals the terrors of the night. London has been wounded during the hours of darkness, but what colossal strength runs in her veins. As hoses still play on the smouldering ruins, a fireman is heard to say, "Blimey, he wasn't half cross with us last night." Let every honor be given to the rescue parties, nurses and doctors, who toil for hours among the wreckage, bringing help and easing the suffering of survivors. From out the bowels of devastation, they bring the injured to be ministered to by these gallant brothers and sisters of mercy. in spite of it all, London carries on. Lummy, you ought to hear her carrying on. In no uncertain voice, she echoes Mr. Churchill's words, "We'll give it to them back." Yes, this time we take the gloves off. Hitler has called the tune, and we'll give it a name. Retaliation. Quoting an American newspaper, "The indiscriminate orgy of destruction is not the weapon to defeat England. From the dust of London arises only new life and hotter defiance. Hardened and angry, Britain fights back." We've got an adapted slogan now. Can we take it? Sure we can take it, right back where it came from.
In the video clip we've just watched, it showed various shots of gutted and ruined buildings, many of which were still smouldering. Did you see people living in bombed out houses being helped out of the rubble by air raid precautions workers? Many of them clutching bundles of their possessions. And there were shots of Londoners as well, and civil defence workers clearing debris and glass from the streets. Here are some more primary sources, images that were taken at the time of the event, in this case, the Blitz. In a moment, I want you to pause the video and I want you to find 5 more ways life in London was changed from analysing these primary sources. Pause for thought and have a go. Jot down your ideas. So, what did you come up with? From looking at both primary sources, some things about London that I noticed that had changed were buildings. Buildings that once stood proud were now demolished by air attacks from the Luftwaffe. Homes and people's belongings were ruined. Communities were sleeping and living in the underground stations. New roles such as air raid precautions workers, the ARP, and civil defence workers were now needed in the city. And yet society in London seemed to be unified and fused together, helping one another and supporting those in need. This brings us on the subject of Blitz Spirit. Was there a Blitz Spirit? Blitz Spirit is the idea that people came together when the bombing started. They showed determination and strength of character despite the hardships they were all going through. Have a look at these primary sources. How do these images show evidence of a Blitz Spirit, of not giving up, keeping positive and determined? Pause for thought and make a note of your ideas. Now it's time for you to complete your tasks. You have either access to this on Purple Mash or in your packs. So I want you to read the articles I've prepared for you and answer the questions. You can rewind the video anytime if you feel you need to gather more information to help you. Your second task is to sort the cards into yes or no piles. So you can cut them out and arrange them, or you could colour them in, one colour for yes and another colour for no. It's up to you how you present it, as long as it's clear that one statement would be yes and the other no. And just like last lesson, for those of you that like to challenge yourself, here's a challenge to see if you can use historical information to justify your opinion. The question is, in your opinion, was there a Blitz Spirit during World War II? So before we go, let's review the lesson and test out our key knowledge of the day. So, pause for thought, have a go at answering these 4 questions. We'll go through the answers in just a moment. So how did you do? I hope you got them all right. Check your answers. It's so important to understand why we're learning what we're learning. So, our purpose of today's lesson was to understand further the impact of war in Britain and to further prepare us for upcoming knowledge of World War II. Coming up in future lessons, you'll be able to understand what evacuation was and why it took place, and evaluate how life changed during World War II. That's all for this lesson. Feel free to go over any points of this video lesson that you need to and ensure that you've completed all of the tasks. That includes your quiz on Purple Mash for our Knowing More and Remembering More.